38 seniors hospitalized every day from falls. That's a pretty scary number, right?
It is. And you know what's even scarier? A lot of those falls could have been prevented.
Because of muscle loss.
Exactly. It's this thing called sarcopenia,
Yeah.
and it's kind of sneaky because you don't really notice it at first.
Yeah, it's not like you wake up one morning and suddenly can't lift a grocery bag. It's way more subtle than that.
Right. It's like this gradual decline, and before you know it, simple things become tough, like getting up from a chair
Right.
or, tripping, and then bam, a broken bone.
The research we've been looking at really emphasizes that, and it's a bit of a domino effect, isn't it? It's not just about weakness, but about the bigger picture of our independence as we age.
Oh, absolutely. The stats are pretty stark, actually. Sarcopenia, it's a major factor in a huge percentage of nursing home admissions, like 87%.
Wow, that really puts it into perspective. Think of the impact on families, on finances. This is serious stuff.
It really is. But here's the thing. There's some really exciting research coming out of Harvard Medical School.
Oh, tell me more about this.
Well, they've identified some specific foods, and these foods have compounds that can actually reverse muscle wasting. And get this, even in people in their 70s and 80s.
That's incredible. It challenges this whole idea that significant muscle loss is just an inevitable part of aging.
Totally. It's like we've been accepting this decline as normal when maybe, just maybe, we have more control than we thought.
Okay, so what is this wonder food they've zeroed in on? Spill the beans.
Well, it's probably not what you think. It's not something you'd find in every kitchen, but it's got this unique protein, and in clinical trials, it actually outperformed prescription meds at reversing muscle loss.
Wow, okay, that's a big claim. So how did it actually perform?
Oh, the results were really impressive. Like 91% of people who ate this food saw muscle loss reverse in just 6 weeks.
6 weeks. That's pretty remarkable. Okay, so that brings us to today's deep dive. We're going to break down the top 10 foods that this research and a ton of other scientific studies point to as crucial for maintaining and even building muscle as we get older.
Sounds like a plan.
So let's start with number 10, Greek yogurt. Now, we all know yogurt is healthy, but what makes Greek yogurt stand out?
Well, it's all about the straining process. You see, they remove a lot of the whey and liquid. What you're left with is this really concentrated yogurt with almost double the protein of regular yogurt.
Okay, so we're talking like what, 15 to 20 grams of protein per serving?
Yeah, about that. And that high-quality protein, it's super important for muscle health, especially as we age. You see, our bodies, they get a little less efficient at creating new muscle protein as we get older.
So getting enough protein from our diet becomes even more important.
Right. It's like providing your body with the building blocks it needs to maintain and repair those muscles.
Now, Greek yogurt, it's got this specific type of protein called casein. Why is that beneficial?
Ah, casein is special. It digests slowly. So, unlike some other proteins like whey, casein releases amino acids into your bloodstream gradually over a longer period.
So it's like a slow-release fuel for your muscles.
Exactly. And this is really helpful if you have it before bed. It can actually help prevent muscle breakdown that happens while you sleep.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. So it's like fueling those muscles overnight.
Yeah, sort of. And there's more. Greek yogurt's also got calcium, vitamin D, phosphorus.
Yeah, all important for strong bones, which is, crucial as we age. But they play a role in muscle function too, don't they?
Absolutely. And let's not forget about probiotics.
Probiotics, those tiny bacteria in yogurt, how do they help our muscles?
Well, there's a lot of research now on the gut microbiome, and it's showing how important it is for everything, including our muscles.
It's all connected, right?
Exactly. Good gut bacteria, they help us absorb nutrients better, including all that protein we're eating for our muscles.
Yeah.
And a healthy gut, it helps manage inflammation in the body, which can really protect muscle mass.
So for our listeners who want to give Greek yogurt a try, what's the best way to do it?
Stick to plain, full-fat varieties if you can. Watch out for those added sugars, in the flavored ones.
Yeah, the added sugar often negates the benefit.
Exactly. You can always add your own flavor with some berries or nuts or a drizzle of honey.
I love doing that.
Aim for about 3 to 4 servings a week and think about having it as an evening snack.
Because of that slow digesting casein protein.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to number 9, oily fish. Salmon, mackerel, sardines. These might not be on everyone's weekly menu, but they're pretty powerful for our muscles.
They really are. It's all about the omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA specifically. These guys are like the anti-inflammatory superheroes of the food world.
And we know that inflammation, especially chronic inflammation, can really speed up muscle breakdown as we age.
Absolutely. So those omega-3s, they help to calm things down and we protect those muscles.
I like that analogy. So fighting inflammation is one key benefit. But they're a good source of protein too, right?
Oh, yeah. You're looking at around 20 grams of protein in a 4-ounce serving of salmon. And it's complete protein, meaning it's got all the essential amino acids your body needs but can't make on its own.
But the cool thing is, it's not just the protein content. Omega-3s themselves have a more direct impact on muscle, don't they?
Yes. This is fascinating. The omega-3s actually make your muscles more sensitive to the protein you eat.
So it's like they're priming those muscles to actually use the protein more effectively.
Exactly. And this is especially important as we age because our muscles can become less responsive to those growth signals, a phenomenon we call anabolic resistance.
Anabolic resistance. I've heard that term before. It's basically like our muscles becoming a bit stubborn, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. They're not as eager to build and repair themselves. So omega-3s, they help to counter that.
That's amazing. And there's actually research to back this up, right? I think there was a study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition.
Yep. That study found that older adults who ate fatty fish twice a week lost less muscle over 3 years compared to those who didn't eat much fish.
That's a pretty compelling argument for adding some salmon to your plate. Plus, oily fish provides another important nutrient for muscle health, especially as we age.
You're talking about vitamin D, right?
Yeah, vitamin D.
So important.
Yeah.
Especially because a lot of older adults don't get enough. Vitamin D, it plays a key role in muscle function and strength, and oily fish is a great way to get it.
So for our listeners who want to add more oily fish to their diet, what's the best approach?
Shoot for at least 2 servings a week. Choose wild-caught varieties when you can, because they usually have more omega-3s. And if you really can't stomach fish, you can always go for a good quality fish oil supplement.
That's a good option. But, whole foods are always best if you can manage them.
Absolutely.
Okay, number 8 on our list is eggs. They've had a bit of a roller coaster ride in terms of health advice, but our research suggests they're a real friend to our muscles as we age.
Right. Eggs, they're like this nutritional powerhouse. So versatile, affordable, and they're packed with the stuff our muscles need.
Now, a lot of people focus on egg whites for protein, but you're saying the whole egg is even better for our muscles.
That's what the research shows. It's about the whole package, all the nutrients working together.
And eggs, they've got that high biological value protein, right?
They do. That basically means your body can use it really efficiently for muscle repair and maintenance.
One egg has about 6 grams of protein, isn't that right?
Yep. And it's complete protein, just like with the fish. And fun fact, almost half of that protein comes from the yolk.
The yolk, that's the part that often gets demonized or tossed aside.
I know, right? But that yolk, it's not just about protein. It's got choline, vitamin D, and importantly for muscles, it's got leucine.
Leucine is coming up a lot in our conversation. So why is it so important for maintaining and even building muscle?
Think of leucine as like the on switch for muscle protein synthesis. It's an amino acid that really tells your body, hey, start building and repairing muscle tissue.
Okay, I see.
And the great thing about leucine is it works even in aging muscles that might not respond as well to other signals. It's a powerful tool.
The research from the University of Illinois was really interesting. What did they find about whole eggs versus just egg whites for muscle building?
Oh, their research was really cool. They found that people who ate whole eggs after exercise actually built 40% more muscle than those who had the same amount of protein, but only from egg whites.
So there's definitely something to be said for that whole egg synergy, not just focusing on the protein isolation. And what about cholesterol? It used to be that eggs were kind of off limits for people worried about their heart health. Has that changed?
Yeah, the science has evolved. The latest research suggests that eating up to 7 eggs a week is perfectly safe for most people, even older adults. And for some, it might even improve cholesterol levels.
That's good to know. So eggs are back on the menu.
Exactly.
For our listeners who want to up their egg intake, what's the best way to do it?
Aim for 1 or 2 eggs a day. You can have at breakfast, of course. Hard-boiled eggs make a great portable snack, too.
Super easy and packed with nutrients. Okay, moving on to number 7. We have nuts and seeds. People usually think of them as good for healthy fats, but they're actually pretty good for muscle preservation too, right?
Yeah, they're like little nutritional powerhouses. And while they don't have as much protein as some of the animal sources we've talked about, they've got this great combination of Plant-based protein, healthy fats, and all sorts of micronutrients that are great for muscles, especially as we get older.
The research highlighted almonds, walnuts, and pumpkin seeds. What makes those stand out for muscle health?
So almonds, they're a decent source of protein, about 6 grams per quarter cup, but they're also packed with magnesium. And magnesium, it's a mineral that many older adults don't get enough of.
Right, magnesium is important for muscle function.
It's crucial, involved in muscle contraction, nerve function, energy production, and low levels of magnesium, they've been linked to faster muscle loss, and those annoying muscle cramps.
I hate those.
Mm.
So almonds, good for magnesium. What about walnuts?
Walnuts are all about the omega-3s. Specifically, they have a type called alpha-linolenic acid, which is a plant-based omega-3. And like we discussed before, omega-3s fight inflammation.
Which is a big win for our muscles, especially as we age.
Absolutely. And then there's pumpkin seeds. They're a great source of zinc.
Zinc, what does that have to do with muscles?
Well, zinc is really important for testosterone production. And testosterone, while we usually think of it as a male hormone, is also crucial for maintaining muscle mass in women.
Okay, that's interesting. So it's not just about protein, it's about all these other nutrients that work together to support our muscles.
Exactly. And beyond those specific nuts and seeds, many of them are also a good source of vitamin E.
And vitamin E, that's an antioxidant, right?
It is. And as we age, our muscle cells, they experience more oxidative damage, which can lead to, breakdown and dysfunction. Vitamin E helps protect those cells. In fact, there was some research from Tufts University that linked higher vitamin E levels to less muscle loss in older adults.
So it's another piece of the puzzle. Nuts and seeds, they're small but mighty when it comes to muscle health. So how can our listeners incorporate them into their diet?
Aim for about 1 to 2 ounces a day. It can be helpful to pre-portion them, because they can be calorie dense. And definitely opt for unsalted varieties, especially if you're watching your blood pressure or fluid retention.
Great advice. Okay, at number 6, we have beans and legumes. Now, most people think of beans as a good source of fiber, but they actually play a pretty important role in fighting muscle loss too, don't they?
They do. It's not just about the protein, though they do have a decent amount, around 15 grams per cooked cup. It's more about this unique combination of slow-digesting protein and a type of fiber called resistant starch.
Okay, resistant starch, what's that all about?
Well, resistant starch, it's like a prebiotic, meaning it feeds the good bacteria in our gut. And there's more and more research showing the strong connection between gut health and muscle function.
The gut microbiome, it's like a whole other world inside us, isn't it?
It really is. And when our gut is healthy, it helps reduce inflammation throughout the body. And that's key for protecting muscle mass.
It's like creating this internal environment that's more favorable for our muscles to thrive. And the regular fiber in beans is helpful too, right?
Absolutely. Fiber helps stabilize blood sugar levels. And that's important because big swings in blood sugar, they can actually lead to muscle breakdown. The technical term is catabolism. So beans help protect those muscles by keeping blood sugar more steady.
That makes a lot of sense. The research specifically mentioned black beans, lentils, and chickpeas. Are those particularly good choices?
Yeah, those are great options. They're loaded with important minerals like potassium, magnesium, and iron, which are all crucial for muscle function and are often low in older adults' diets, especially iron.
Yeah, iron is important for carrying oxygen to our muscles.
And for energy production. Iron deficiency, it's pretty common in older adults, and it can really affect muscle health.
The Human Nutrition Research Center on Aging at Tufts University did some interesting research on legumes, didn't they?
Yeah, their research found that seniors who ate legumes at least 4 times a week had much better muscle maintenance over a 5-year period.
That's pretty impressive. 5 years. So for our listeners who want to eat more beans and legumes, what's the best approach?
Aim for at least 3 to 4 servings a week. Try to mix it up and include a variety. If you're not used to a lot of fiber, start slow, small portions at first so you don't get any digestive issues.
It's all about easing into it.
Right. Soaking dried beans overnight can also help. And if you want convenience, canned beans are fine. Just make sure they're low sodium and rinse them well.
Good advice. Okay, let's move on to number 5. Leafy green vegetables. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard, those kinds of things. Now, most people don't think of these as muscle-building foods, but they're pretty important, especially as we age.
They really are. And it's because of their nitrates. You see, our bodies convert nitrates into nitric oxide. And nitric oxide, it's a vasodilator.
Meaning it helps widen our blood vessels.
Right. And that leads to better blood flow to our muscles.
And why is that good for our muscles?
Well, think about it. Good blood flow means all those essential nutrients, like oxygen and those amino acids from protein, they can get to your muscles more easily. And it also helps clear out waste products.
So it's like creating this super highway for nutrients to get to the muscles and for waste to be removed. Makes sense.
Right. And there was some interesting research from the Karolinska Institute. They found that eating more nitrates actually improved muscle function, especially in older adults who tend to have reduced blood flow.
So it's like giving those muscles the resources they need to stay healthy and function properly. And leafy greens, they're also a good source of minerals, aren't they?
Oh, they are. They're packed with electrolytes,
Hmm.
calcium, magnesium, potassium, all of which are essential for muscle contraction. Just 1 cup of cooked spinach gives you almost 40% of the magnesium you need in a day.
That's impressive.
And when you don't get enough of these minerals, you can experience muscle cramps, weakness, and even increased muscle loss.
So they're really important. And leafy greens also have vitamin K. What does that do for our muscles?
Vitamin K is getting a lot of attention lately. It's not just about blood clotting anymore. It seems to play a role in protein metabolism and muscle function too.
I'm seeing a pattern here. There's so much more to these foods than meets the eye.
Absolutely. There was a study in the Journals of Gerontology that found a link between higher vitamin K intake and reduced muscle loss in older adults.
So adding those leafy greens is another step towards protecting our muscles as we age. So for our listeners who want to eat more leafy greens, any tips?
Try to eat at least 2 cups a day. There are tons of ways to do it. Add them to smoothies, throw them in omelets, soups, or just saute them with some olive oil and garlic. Pre-washed greens can be a lifesaver too.
Yeah, I always have this on hand. Makes things so much easier. Okay, moving on to number 4, we have extra virgin olive oil. Now, this one might seem a little out of place because it's not a protein source. So how does olive oil help with muscle preservation?
It's all about those anti-inflammatory powers. Chronic inflammation, it's a big contributor to muscle loss as we get older. And olive oil has these unique compounds that can help fight it.
You mentioned a compound called oleocanthal earlier. What does that do?
Oleocanthal is this awesome compound found in extra virgin olive oil. And it acts a lot like ibuprofen, the painkiller. Research from the University of Louisiana actually found that oleocanthal can help block the enzymes that break down muscle protein.
So it's like a natural protector for our muscles.
Exactly. And beyond that, olive oil can also improve insulin sensitivity.
And why is that important for muscles?
Well, insulin helps our muscles use protein, but as we get older, we can become more resistant to insulin. Olive oil helps to counter that, so our muscles can use protein more efficiently.
Oh, that makes sense. And the healthy fats in olive oil, they're important for hormone production too, right?
Yes, hormones like testosterone and growth hormone, which are crucial for maintaining muscle, and they naturally decline as we age.
Right. That's why supporting hormone production through our diet becomes even more important as we get older.
Exactly. And there was this massive research project, the Pre-Diamond study, which looked at the Mediterranean diet. And they found that older adults who included olive oil in their diet daily actually had better muscle strength and were less frail over 5 years.
Compared to those who followed a low-fat diet, so clearly those healthy fats play an important role. For our listeners who want to incorporate more olive oil, how should they use it?
Aim for about 2 to 3 tablespoons a day. Drizzle it on salads, use it as a finishing touch on cooked veggies. You can even use it for cooking as long as the heat isn't too high.
Yeah, you don't want to destroy those beneficial compounds.
Right. And make sure you store it in a dark bottle, away from heat, and check the harvest date to make sure it's fresh.
Great tips. Okay, we're down to the top 3. Number 3 is berries. Now, these might seem more like a sweet treat than a muscle-building food, but they're pretty powerful, aren't they?
They really are. It's all about their antioxidants. As we age, our muscles become more prone to oxidative damage, which can really accelerate muscle breakdown and slow down recovery after exercise.
And berries are like antioxidant superstars.
They are. Blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, they're all packed with anthocyanins and other polyphenols. These guys fight those harmful free radicals that can damage muscle cells.
So free radicals, they're like these little troublemakers that cause damage in the body.
That's a good way to put it. And berries, they help to neutralize them.
Protecting those muscle cells. And there was a study from Tufts University that found blueberries could actually improve muscle performance and recovery in older adults.
Yeah, that study was really interesting. It showed that blueberries can really make a difference. And berries also play a role in managing inflammation. You see, they can influence the production of these signaling molecules called cytokines. And while some inflammation is good, it helps muscles repair after exercise, too much inflammation, especially the kind that comes with aging, it can actually lead to muscle loss. So berries help keep that in check.
They help create a more balanced inflammatory response.
Exactly.
And berries, they've got vitamin C too, don't they?
Yep, especially strawberries. And vitamin C, it's crucial for making collagen.
Which is that protein that helps hold our tissues together.
Exactly. It keeps those connective tissues around our muscles strong and healthy. And those tissues can weaken as we age, so getting enough vitamin C is important.
So for our listeners who want to add more berries to their diet, what would you recommend?
Aim for a cup a day, at least. Mix it up with different kinds of berries. And don't forget about frozen berries. They're just as nutritious and often less expensive. You can add them to yogurt, oatmeal, smoothies, or just eat them on their own.
Okay, we're down to the final two. At number 2, we have lean beef. Now, for those who eat meat, this might seem like a more obvious choice for building and maintaining muscle. What makes it so effective?
Lean beef is fantastic because it's a great source of protein, and it's got other nutrients that are really beneficial for older adults. A 4-ounce serving has about 25 grams of protein, and it's high-quality protein with a great amino acid profile.
And it's got a lot of that leucine we've been talking about.
Oh yeah, lean beef is one of the best sources of leucine. And remember, leucine is that amino acid that triggers muscle protein synthesis.
Like flipping the on switch for muscle building.
That's a great analogy. And as we age, our muscles can become less sensitive to leucine, so we need more of it to get the same muscle-building effect. And beef provides a lot, more than most other foods.
Okay, that makes sense. So high quality protein, lots of leucine. What else does lean beef have that's good for our muscles?
Well, it's also got creatine, which is important for muscle energy and helps make muscles look fuller and more toned.
I've heard of creatine. Don't a lot of athletes use it as a supplement?
They do, but as we age, our bodies make less creatine naturally, so getting it from our diet becomes even more important.
Okay, I see.
And lean beef is also an excellent source of iron, zinc, and B vitamins, which are all important for energy production and getting oxygen to our muscles.
So it's really a nutrient powerhouse for muscle health. And there was some research from McMaster University that looked at the combination of lean red meat and resistance training in older adults. Wasn't there?
Yeah, their study found that older adults who ate lean red meat and did strength training built more muscle than those who got the same amount of protein from plants.
So the combination of high-quality animal protein and exercise is a winning formula. For our listeners who include meat in their diet, what's the best way to eat lean beef for muscle health?
Choose lean cuts, like sirloin, tenderloin, or round. Limit yourself to 2 to 3 servings per week. Each serving should be about 4 to 6 ounces. And if you can, go for grass-fed beef.
Grass-fed is usually leaner and has more omega-3s, right?
Exactly.
Okay, we've reached the top of our list. And at number 1, the food that our research has crowned as the most effective for fighting age-related muscle loss. Whey protein. Why does it take the top spot?
Whey protein is special for a few reasons. First, it's a complete protein. That means it's got all 9 essential amino acids. And get this, it has the highest natural concentration of leucine of any food.
So it's like the ultimate muscle protein synthesis trigger.
Exactly. And remember, as we age, our muscles can become resistant to those growth signals. Whey protein is like a super potent signal that helps overcome that resistance.
So even if our muscles are getting a bit stubborn, whey protein can still get through and tell them to grow and repair. That's pretty amazing. And another thing that makes whey protein special is that it's digested really quickly, right?
Yes. That means those amino acids get into your bloodstream quickly, which is really helpful for combating that anabolic resistance we were talking about. It's like delivering a fast and powerful boost to those muscles.
And McMaster University did some research on whey protein too, didn't they?
Yep, that same study we talked about earlier, they found that older adults who took whey protein supplements retained 40% more muscle mass than those who just got their protein from food.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
It is. It shows you just how powerful whey protein can be. And it's not just about the protein itself. Whey protein also has bioactive peptides.
What are those?
There are these little protein fragments that have all sorts of benefits. They can improve blood flow to muscles, boost insulin sensitivity, and help reduce inflammation.
So it's like getting all these extra bonuses.
Exactly. And whey protein is also a good source of cysteine, which is important for making glutathione, which is like our body's master antioxidant.
Glutathione, that's crucial for protecting our cells from damage, right?
It is. And the Journal of the American Medical Directors Association published a study showing that whey protein could actually improve muscle strength, physical performance, and balance in older adults, even if they weren't exercising. And the benefits were even greater when they combined whey protein with strength training.
So it's clear that whey protein is a powerful tool for anyone looking to maintain or build muscle as they age. For those who want to give it a try, what's the best way to use it?
A good general recommendation is 20 to 30 grams per day, ideally within 30 minutes of exercising. Look for whey, isolate, or concentrate, and try to avoid products with added sugars or artificial ingredients. If you have any dairy sensitivities, you can try hydrolyzed whey. It's easier to digest.
So you can just mix it with water or milk or add it to smoothies with some of those other muscle-friendly foods we talked about.
Exactly.
Well, there you have it, a deep dive into the top 10 foods that research suggests can help us fight age-related muscle loss. It's pretty clear that what we eat can make a real difference in how we age.
What's really important to remember is that maintaining muscle mass is about so much more than just strength and aesthetics. It's about maintaining our independence, reducing our risk of falls, keeping our metabolism healthy. It's about quality of life.
Right. And I love the message that we're not just passively aging, we can be proactive about it.
Absolutely. By making smart choices about the foods we eat, we can slow down muscle loss and maybe even reverse it. It's empowering, really.
I think so too. So for you listening, what are some of the foods from today's list that you might try adding to your diet? And maybe this has sparked a curiosity in you to learn more about how muscle protein synthesis works or about anabolic resistance. There's always more to discover, and the more we understand how our bodies work, the better choices we can make to support our health as we age.
I completely agree.
That's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.